Hey guys, Salonosuke here. Welcome back to another Wizard101 video. As you know, I have been, and I think I've said this before, I have played Wizard101 for about 16 years now. So, you know, I've been on this game a long time, seeing it change and, you know, go through many different phases of its lifespan. And today I'm going to give you tips that I wish I knew when I first started playing. Now, this first tip really didn't exist when I started playing, but now that it's here, I thought I'd talk about it. This is a very outdated system, but I think it does very much help you if you are in a pinch for gold. Especially if you don't have an account that can farm places that drop items that have a bunch of gold. And this is the fishing mechanic. Now, fishing, very outdated mechanic, really doesn't have, isn't really as polished as some of the other mechanics that you have in the game, but, you know, because obviously it costs pet energy. But did you know that, you catch these fish, you can actually make a pretty decent profit out of it, especially if you catch multiple of these things. 10 fish usually, they don't actually sell for that bad of a price. They usually sell around for 300, so you get 3,000 if you caught 10 fish. But not only that, if it is an easy catch of the day, now I don't know where you get the chameleon fish, but as you can see here, 3 times the gold. That's pretty good, especially if it is a more expensive pet. You could see over 2,000, 3,000 gold just coming from one fish alone, which is very, very helpful, especially early game. And when I feel that pet training is not really that important, which is the early game, you could get away with fishing and getting some extra gold on hand, which is actually really, really cool. So the next thing that we will do and talk about will take us to an actual farming spot, so I will see you when we get there. Alright, we are here. For all you min-maxers, as you can see I did have a mark here, so didn't really take that long, but here we are. We are at this cave of Halfang. Now, Halfang is a boss in the main storyline of the Wintertusk questline after Grizzleheim. So, a little prerequisite is you do need to complete Grizzleheim, but I highly recommend it, as Wintertusk is probably one of the best yielders of EXP in the entire game for your level. You'll be coming here probably after you complete maybe Dragonspire, if you're feeling like going that route. So you will be around level 50 or so. So these enemies are fairly around that level and fairly easy to take out. And this is still probably one of the best places to farm for gold, because the items that you drop, I don't think I have any. No, I don't think so. But the items that are dropped from this boss, and just any boss in this area, is very, very good. 2,000, 3,000 gold is very good, especially if you are somebody who really needs gold for maybe your pet hatching, or maybe there's a certain setup that you're trying to do, or you just want to get some extra gold on hand just in case you need it for later. This is definitely a place to go. But also, be on the lookout for some amulets that you can get. They are level 52, but they sell for 9,000, 10,000 gold a pop. So, farming this place is really, really good. Now, there is some other places higher level that you could farm for other types of gear that sell for even more than the Wintertusk gear, but Wintertusk is definitively one of the best farming places to go to. This one, I thought I would give this one as one of the tips, just because it definitely is one of the easier ones, and one of the more well-known ones. But hey, tip is a tip, so let's move on and go to the next one, which will actually be somewhere a little higher level. So if you aren't at the level that you get into this world, then I can give you an alternative after we get done in that world. So let's go there now. Okay, here we are for our next tip. We are in Caravan, as you can see. Now, like I said, this is for higher level players, but I will give you an alternative once I'm done talking about this area. So, coming over here, as you travel over here, you will run into the Death Gulchers. Now, besides, they do drop, gear and stuff that you can sell for gold, but they drop one of the most important things that you could need as a wizard: couch potatoes. And they also drop evil magma peas, I'm pretty sure, as well. So you can get the two main sources of mega snacks just from farming these guys. So definitely, if you are somebody who doesn't even have your garden set up, come fight these things. They're very simple, and at this point, they are fairly low health. I don't have a proper deck set up to fight them with right now, but you can easily one-tap them. They are easily killable, and you will usually get a couch potato fairly easily. Now, if you are lower level and can't get into Mirage, and you don't have somebody that can teleport you in here and let you farm with them, go try Severstad Pass and fight the Troubled Warriors. Now, Grizzleheim, obviously, lower tier enemies, they're okay, but I wouldn't recommend them because their drop rate on couch potatoes is a lot lower than a Gulcher is. So, while we're here in Mirage, let's go and tell you where to get the best drop in the game for really the late game. Because there's an important stat late game that you could really utilize if you have these jewels. So, I'll see you when we get there. Oh, and if you do farm for couch potatoes, don't use outside sources. That's not okay. Don't do it. I see you trying to set it up. Don't set up that macro. Don't do it. Don't do it. That's illegal. No, I'm kidding. Well, I don't know if I'm kidding or not. But either way, I'll see you when we get there. Okay, here we are. No, this isn't right. Well, it is, but if you are curious, we're gonna go into the Thieves' Den here. Yeah, so now, the thing that we are going to be talking about is Pierce Jewels. As you know, Pierce Jewels, my pet has Pierce, but the Pierce Jewels we are talking about come there, 6%. These jewels, very helpful, especially later in the game when stuff has universal resist. Now, I don't have the most optimal amount of Pierce. You can get a ton of Pierce, right? But if you want Pierce Jewels, here you go. Fortree Thieves are the main source that you can get these Pierce Jewels from fairly quickly. Now, it may take a while to get the school that you want, but you can get Pierce Jewels here. And probably the most optimal, unless you have, like, an overabundance of, like, Dream Water or, like, reagents from, like, Darkmoor or Wallaroo that you can just spend on Pierce Jewels with. And that's okay, but if you are somebody that's looking for a less time-consuming, and if you just want to just do it for a couple minutes a day, don't be surprised. I farmed up all my Pierce Jewels just by finding these Fortree Thieves. Or Fortree Thief, whatever. I've always called them Fortree, so, Either way, this is a great place to get your Pierce Jewels. Highly recommend it if you are at that level. And once again, if you don't have somebody that can do it, just wait. You don't really need to worry about Pierce Jewels until later in the game. It's more of a late game thing. But it is still helpful to know that these people that you can fight here are definitely helpful for getting you the Pierce Jewels that you need for your build. Anyways, let's head back to Wizard City, and I will give you my last tip for this video, and then we will close out the video. So, I'll meet you back at Wizard City. Alrighty, next to last tip here. We are here at Catherine Rockhammer. Now, if you are early on, as you know, School Pips exist now with the Arc Mastery setting. Now, have you ever wondered how you could get Arc Mastery at the start of your playthrough? Now, if you are somebody that wants to sort of mess around with this early on, maybe you want to try and mess around with dual schooling, and you want to set your thing to something else, well, here's how you can get Arc Mastery early. Come talk to Catherine Rockhammer. Very simple. You have a square socket one and you have a tier socket version of these jewels. Most items will have a tier socket more than a square, so definitely pick up one of these if you want to mess with Arc Mastery early on. But, well, let's head back to the comments here, because, well, we can talk about our last tip, which is going to be, if you are just starting out, you get one-day mounts. But, did you know that there's a easy way to get permanent mounts really, really quickly? Yes. So let's go to the crown shop here. Okay, permanent mounts. Well, as you can see, they have a ton of mounts here. But what we're looking for... here they are. Enchanted Broom. As you can see, most mounts, this cannot be selected. But right as soon as you go to the Enchanted Broom, there is a gold select option, 50,000 gold. Now, there are other ones, like the Blue Dragon for 85, the Horn Sweeper for 70, and even ones that cost 90,000. Now, if you're somebody that wants a permanent mount, I would probably recommend the Chestnut Pony or just the Enchanted Broom. Both are really, really, obviously easy to get. You just farm them up, and now you have a permanent mount. And along your travels, you will get other permanent mounts just from being on the game. You may get lucky when you open up like loyalty packs if you do have membership. But if you are somebody who has a ton of gold, but, doesn't have an enchanted mount, well, here you go. You finally have your mount, and now you're not walking, and you will speed up everything that you do in-game fairly quickly. There are 50% mounts, but I wouldn't worry about getting those mounts. The 40% mounts do just well, and the cost-efficient method is right here in the crown shop if you didn't realize that they were here. Which, surprisingly enough, is actually probably one of the most important tips, really, because not a lot of people, I've seen people before, when people mention that there's these permanent mounts for gold in the crown shop, a lot of people didn't realize it and don't realize that, hey, you can just go in here to the crown shop and buy the mount. So, that's why I decided to save that one for last. But that is a couple of tips for you in your Wizard101 journey that may help you in the future if you decide to do any of these. Let me know which one you think is the most important out of all of them. I personally think it is the permanent mount and also the Grizzleheim, well, not the Grizzleheim, but the gold shirts. Because gardening is so important nowadays, especially when you need mega snacks to make pets relatively quickly. You definitely want to have mega snacks, and couch potatoes is probably one of the most important resources that you can farm up, besides maybe finding gear that you can up your pet energy for. But yeah, that is going to do it. I hope you enjoyed. Oh, my character is... Okay. Either way, I hope you guys enjoyed. I will continue be putting out more Wizard101 content in the future. Also, if you haven't already, check out the Pokemon Battle Revolution video I did. I was able to get my hands on a Japanese ROM. Or, not Japanese ROM, but you know what I mean. The Japanese version, and I was able to set it up on my Dolphin emulator. So, if you haven't already, be sure to check it out. It was very cool, and I enjoyed making it. So, with all that being said, I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in the next video. Take care. Have a good one.